Today, I happened to find an old Wi-Fi modem outdoors and brought it home to inspect it. From the outside, the modem looks quite old and shows signs of long-term use. However, instead of throwing it away, I'll reuse some of its remaining components to build a simple antenna. First, I removed the outer casing of the modem to access the components inside. After inspecting the circuit board, I noticed that 2 antenna wire connection points are still intact and can be reused for the new design. These will serve as important connection points for the next assembly steps. In the next step, I prepared 2 small electrical wires to connect to the Wi-Fi modem circuit board. First, I stripped the insulation from the ends of both wires to expose the copper conductors inside, preparing them for soldering. Next, I solder the ends of the 2 electrical wires to the 2 antenna connection points on the circuit board. This creates additional paths for connecting an external antenna to the modem circuit. Then, I carefully route the wires toward the back of the Wi-Fi modem, keeping them neatly positioned and ready for the next connection steps. Next, I check the position of the wires once more and close the Wi-Fi modem casing, completing the outer assembly of the device. Every like and subscription motivates me to create more creative DIY projects. Thank you so much for your support. Next, I'll repurpose an old speaker as the receiving component for the antenna. Since the speaker contains several metal parts and already has existing contact points, I can reuse it as part of the receiving structure. First, I strip the insulation from the ends of the 2 wires from the Wi-Fi modem to expose the copper conductors and prepare them for the connection. Then I twist the ends of the wires around the metal contact points on the speaker. This creates direct electrical contact between the wires and the receiving component while helping keep the connection stable during assembly. I use pliers to tighten the connections firmly so the wires do not come loose or move. I repeat the same process with the other wire from the Wi-Fi modem to complete the 2 connection points. This video is for educational purposes only and is intended for DIY enthusiasts. Projects involving soldering, electricity, and mechanical tools can involve potential risks. Always wear appropriate protective equipment, follow proper safety procedures, and use tools correctly. Do not attempt any dangerous procedures if you do not have the necessary knowledge or experience. Then, I apply hot glue around the mounting area and secure the speaker to the Wi-Fi modem housing. The glue helps keep the speaker stable and prevents the connections from shifting during use. Here, I have a power cable with an RCA connector, which I'll repurpose as the connection cable between the signal cable and the Wi-Fi modem. Next, I prepare a length of signal cable to connect the antenna device to the TV. First, I remove the outer black insulation to expose the shielding wires inside. Then, I gather and organize the shielding wires neatly to prevent them from becoming tangled and make the next connection step easier. Next, I continue stripping the white plastic insulation to expose the copper conductor inside. Then, I twist the end of the signal cable together with the wire from the RCA cable to create the connection between the two cables. Finally, I wrap electrical tape around the joint to secure the connection and protect the contact point during use. Then, I attach the cable to a TV connector. This connector allows the cable to connect directly to the antenna input on the TV, making installation and removal more convenient. I repeat the same process on the other end of the cable to create another connection point. Next, I wrap electrical tape tightly around the joint to secure the connection and protect the contact point from becoming loose or accidentally shorting during use. Finally, I connect the antenna connector to the Wi-Fi modem, which is the antenna device I built. At this point, the antenna is complete and ready for a signal reception test. First, I'll switch to a TV channel to check the signal reception without connecting the antenna. As you can see, without the antenna connected, the TV only displays the message, no signal. Next, I'll connect the DIY antenna to the signal input on the back of the TV for the actual test. And here is the result. Almost immediately after connecting the antenna, the TV channels begin to appear. The picture is clear, the colors remain stable, and there are no continuous signal interruptions. To make the test more convincing, I'll perform one more experiment. I disconnect the antenna from the TV and observe the signal changes. As soon as the antenna is unplugged, the screen instantly returns to the no signal message. All channels disappear, confirming that the signal truly came from this homemade antenna. Now, I'll reconnect the antenna once again. As you can see, within just a few seconds, the channels reappear and continue working normally. This proves that many electronic parts that seem to have only one purpose can be reused in completely different and surprisingly useful ways. Not only does this save money, but it also opens the door to many more exciting DIY ideas. If you enjoyed this project or found it helpful, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Your support motivates me to continue creating more repair, recycling, and DIY projects in the future. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you again in the next video.